Hey, welcome back to the Outlaw Window Cleaner Radio Show. This is Tim Huber, again with my co-host, Ron Hughes.
Hello.
Hello. We have a very interesting episode today. I can't wait to get into it. What do you think, Ron?
I think we're probably going to hear stuff we don't want to hear. That's what I think about today's episode. I made the mistake one time and I asked the kids a question on vacation, kind of similar to this subject. And I'm like, what the heck did I open up? I probably shouldn't.
Can of worms we're going to have to take to the therapist later? Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
This might be entertaining for you all, but we're going to need some therapy later. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the podcast, if you haven't had a chance to check out the show, then please go back and see last week's. We are going to change this format off, as obviously as you can see now. We're changing it up a little bit, and we're going to get away from the music. I lost a bunch of you in the music last time, so we're just going to kind of
evolve.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a couple episodes today. This is probably going to be a 2-part episode, just because we want to get a lot of the information in, and especially the guests, because we've got something that people have been waiting to hear a little bit, and that's the voice of somebody and him talking. So today's episode is going to actually revolve around our kids, second generation that is coming out here and learning the craft. They've been part of it. Ron has 5 children. I have 7. And Ron has trained
5 that I know of.
Ron's children, 4 of the 5 are trained, correct?
Yeah, 4 was working or currently working.
Right, and then on me, I've only got 1 that's fully trained and 1 starting this summer. So we'll see how that goes.
It's hard.
How is it? I mean, we'll get into that when they come on and we can discuss it with them. But as far as working with your children, it's kind of all we know, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I've had a few different subs working with me out of the van or out of the truck, and that's different than having one of your kids or your wife.
And not all of them stay in the field. The whole purpose of us training our kids is just so they have something to fall back on in their adulthood in case things don't work out that they're chasing, right?
They can go anywhere in the world and make a living.
Right.
As long as they have the knowledge to do it.
Right. And when we all end up in Florida here in the next couple of years, I think we got ourselves a crew, right?
Probably next week or 2.
So
it keeps snowing here.
Yeah, if you don't know Ohio, we live in the 7th grayest area in the country. I don't know if you know that or not, but literally Columbus, Ohio is the 7th grayest place in the country. And today we saw all.
Are you talking
seasons.
About gray with my hair or gray
it's
weather-wise?
Probably not helping with no sun out here right now. So driving here, I went through snow, sleet, hail. It's been hailing for the last couple of days too. So
yeah, rain nonstop.
Rain nonstop. So how many days you get in this week? How many jobs did you get in this week?
I had probably about 60 scheduled, and I've only got maybe 3 done. So it's been a nightmare as far as scheduling, trying to get stuff rescheduled. Even next week's supposed to be complete rain. I put the pontoons on 0 turn, just trying to get the yard mowed before Easter. That's not going to happen. I'll have to get out there with a rowboat or something.
I'll take rain in 70s over this rain in 37 any day of the week, though.
No,
I personally did. I did the big gym this week. One day, and Joey went out and did 3 jobs, I think he did. And then I did, we were part of 1 job yesterday. And then it started hailing out of nowhere, so.
What do you do when you're in the middle of it and it starts raining, snowing, sleeting, hailing? You feel bad for the customer, but you've driven all the way there, set everything up.
Right. How many cancellations do you have call in?
I'd say probably at least 15.
15, yeah. I just tell Leah in the morning, just call them off. One day we called the whole day off and then it didn't rain. That's probably the day you got your 3 in.
Well, what do you do in that situation? That's actually one of my topics is how do you even handle scheduling? A lot of times, I'm about ready to drop my direct mail here next week. That goes to all my current customers. And, as soon as that hits their mailbox, I'm scheduled probably 4 to 5 weeks out. And with the bad weather, even with splitting crews up, a lot of times you lose stuff that was scheduled. So, some of my customers has asked me, they're like, why don't you schedule a rain day?
Because you can't.
And I'm like, why would I schedule basically a day off? If it doesn't rain and I keep up with everything, then I'm just not scheduled anything for every Friday. I'm like, I can't do that.
Right. I mean, and then you lose all the money at the casino.
Right. So I mean, what do you do? What do you guys do with rain?
We just kind of try to stack them on, or we're 5 weeks out, or if I can con Joey into working on a Saturday, we try to pick them off then. But I know you have you're doing usually bigger jobs on the weekends because it's, with lifts and all that. So
I have probably 3 started right now that I have to go back and finish.
Yeah,
they're just huge.
That's great, especially the mountain driving. But I mean, this year seems to be like it's going to be a better year for you as far as health wise. I mean, it just from talking to you this week on the phone and stuff, seems like people are starting to come to you and say, hey, I want to be involved in the houses instead of just the commercial. So I think you're going to be okay when it comes to something like that. You know what I mean?
We'll see what kind of can of worms we open up. I mean, if we end up with, more customers than what we can, we may have to bring Chase out of retirement.
See, I think saying can of worms, I guess it's at that time. We'll go ahead and open up this can of worms and bring these 2 on.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to them and see what we can get, maybe make it a little entertaining. So let's introduce you guys.
I have one of mine, my oldest son, Chase. He's with me today. He actually came on pretty strong, I'd say, right before my accident.
We're going to talk about Chase. We got some stories about Chase, but we got Joey over here. You guys know Joey from the vlogs. He works with me. This is my oldest son that works with me. He's my youngest son from my first marriage, but he's 25 and kicking it in the window cleaning world. So,
kicking it or killing it?
We don't say killing it because certain people in the window cleaning world don't like the phrase killing it. So, everybody in window cleaning is killing it. If you ever in the groups and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought we were gonna have to tiptoe around some snowflakes or something.
I think so. I with Chase was our first. Chase was the first that had to go through everything with me and you back in the 90s.
Was Chase the first, or was Josh?
No, Chase was our first. He started at
12?
12?
Yeah.
Were you in the truck at 12?
I can't remember any of my childhood, actually. But yeah, I was probably really young.
Chase was, I'm talking in that, were you in the can or the can? What was that? What even make a model? Is that a Nissan?
Yeah.
Nissan
hatchback or something.
Was that before or after no, I'm talking about the can. I'm sorry. The can, the van with the 2 doors. Remember that brown thing?
Half car, half van?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah. And then it was a Nissan.
So
yeah,
it was a Nissan?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That thing is legendary.
Did you, was that when you started, or was it when we had the green Nissan? Your Chet's truck.
I don't think he was in the green Nissan.
Oh, he sure was in the green Nissan.
I do remember that because this guy would be rocking Bon Jovi, smoking Marlboro Red cigarettes. Yeah. Like this guy was an actual outlaw. He was. He really was.
Listen, he used to have to sit in the middle as you were shifting gears in that green truck at 12 years old. It had to be that, right?
Yeah.
If my memory corrects me.
Yeah, it was.
But we would just give him so much shit all the time. All the time he got shit. And I don't know if it was just because we were trying to...
he was bored.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
somebody new to play with.
That's all there was to it. Getting to the next job, we was just bored. And
what do you remember about that time? When we first started bringing you out on the routes. I mean, be very honest without being very honest. You know what I mean?
I think with every kid's experience working with their dad is like, that's when you learned real
bonding,
resilience, okay?
The love, like the kumbaya.
You have never crapped your pants more than when you you weren't pointing the flashlight in the right direction, if you grabbed the wrong tool or something. You know what I mean?
He's still looking for that left-handed screwdriver.
It's important though I think for people to go through that working with your parents, right? Because your parents should be hard on you, because guess what? The rest of the world is going to be just as hard, if not harder, on you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of do that with my kids.
They come out here and work in the studio, or
sometimes,
or you got them doing stuff around the house or something?
Well, I make them do chores, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. But you don't make them go out in the middle of the winter,
No, and put my hands in soapy water. And no, I would never do that.
Of course.
Well, just real quick, explain to us the first time you had Colin mowing the grass that you was paying them for. How'd that grass cut come out for you?
It was terrible.
Yeah, I think it was one pass this side, maybe that side, maybe one at an angle.
Yeah, and he got
done.
like upset and he did a bad job, and I gave him hell for it. And I kind of feel bad for it, but you know what? Like,
kind of feel like your dad now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I do. No, it's important. Like I said, you gotta kind of get a nice stern talking to or scolding from your parents,
Right.
and that's what makes you a better person, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, it can make you a better person, or it could
Damage you for
the rest of your life.
You could have irreparable damage for the rest of your life.
I remember getting a phone call from Chase. I'd say probably maybe about 10 years ago. Colin might have been 5. He called me up and he goes, "Dad," he goes, "I want to apologize for everything I've ever done to you, or said about you, or taken your nice stuff and just demolished it." He goes, "Because I just can't handle it." I'm like, "Dude, they're 5. Wait until they hit their teenage years."
Wait till puberty. The testosterone starts picking up and going in. So, Joey, how long you been doing this? When did you start?
This should be my 10th year.
10th year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're 19? So you've been out since 9?
Yeah, since 9.
Yeah.
Dang.
No, you're 25, aren't you?
I'm 25. Yep.
Single?
Ladies,
he's single.
I don't think there's many ladies on this. Just saying.
That's actually one of our next topics. Is we're going to get into that eventually, is females and window cleaning women. And, I've had my wife working with me. I've had my daughter working with me. So we'll get there eventually. But back to you. Let us know.
Oh, jeez.
I want to know what it was like working with your dad. Was he just a total jerk to be with, or did he expect a certain expectation?
This feels loaded a little bit, doesn't it?
Kinda. No, like if I think back to like having my dad be my boss, it's hard to work for family sometimes. But I learned a lot from you as far as business. You're right. Like, you're a very particular guy. You like your window ledges wiped a certain way, right?
Yeah.
You like it to be cleaned on the outside a certain way. You like to wipe out window sills a certain way.
Right.
You know what I mean? You like to turn windows a certain way. So I don't know. I think like you could apply that specifically to window cleaning, but you could also apply it to other facets of business.
But you
right?
realize that all of us at this table, including Josh and Amanda and Dallas, we all clean windows the same. We all clean just like him.
Yeah, and I've seen other people clean windows, and I just think to myself, what the heck are they doing?
Right.
You're doing it all wrong.
Right. That's not how I was taught. This is the best way. And of course, our way is always the best way because we do it. You know what I mean? It's something we do, and we take pride in it. And I know you're not in the window cleaning game right now, but
No,
I mean, there
I
might
moved
be.
on.
We're going to get to where you moved on and how you moved on, how you've taken what your dad taught you in your youth and kind of took it up into what you're doing now. And get into you being a dad. I mean, I think that would be an awesome story because, I mean, as far as out there in the real world, I mean, it's all over the place. You can see you being a dad in video anytime you want to. And it really is a nice little trail that you ran. Of course, Joey hasn't done that trail. He's just stuck in window cleaning, so.
Lucky me.
It takes a long time to figure out what you actually want to do.
So
Don't ever feel pressured to realize what you want to do with your life until you're doing it.
Except you can't leave me for at least 2 years. I need you for 2 more years.
But just going back a little bit, how you talked about how I said I was very particular and stuff. I have evolved. I have found out that you can do stuff completely different than I do, but the end result is still the same.
Well, it wasn't. I don't mean that in the sense of like you need it to be a specific way or perfect. The customer requires you to have it perfect, right? So like that meticulousness wasn't just about your satisfaction. It was about making sure that the customer is satisfied and that your business is being represented in the best possible way. So like that's what I mean by that. right? You taught me to be specific, and I took it as like not like, oh my God, I better do this right, or my dad's gonna kick my ass. maybe some of me had that in me, but I think as I've grown older, I realized that mindset is what makes like your product a perfect thing, right? If you're meticulous in making sure that the windows are clean, the customer's going to respect you for that, and keep hiring you to do the job.
Well, I mean, and they have options. There's plenty of window cleaners out here. I mean, especially this year, it seems like they're popping out everywhere. I mean, especially residential world. I mean, it's going to be your skill set, but it's also going to be your attitude and the way you talk to people. And
people skills are definitely a large portion.
Right. Not everybody has those.
How many window cleaners in our area do you think there was in the late 80s, 90s versus how many today?
I mean, there was a lot of companies in the area we were working just because of the fact that it was a major area and everybody came out there. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like there was as many as there are today.
Oh,
Less than half?
I think probably back in the late 80s, early 90s, probably the ones that was licensed with the state was probably under 30.
Oh yeah, I mean, and well, back then it was a different world. I mean, we had to hide the fact that I was even training for the longest time because I wasn't a witness.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Not only that, how long was you in high school?
Like 6 years.
Is that still part of the window cleaning culture?
No, not anymore. No,
Oh, okay.
It's not as relevant as it used to be. I mean, still out there in the country, probably half the window cleaners out there are JWs, but I mean, you just respect them and go with it.
Well, what's funny is how I trained Tim versus how I trained you. I think with Tim, I got to the point with you, I said, you know what, just sit here and watch me.
Yeah.
Just mimic everything I do.
I didn't
remember that.
I didn't
For a year and a
squeegee
half.
window. I didn't touch a squeegee for a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
just watch me, you know. Then I think I eventually graduated you up to,
I was putting all the water up.
well, I think at first you was just mopping the floors.
Yeah.
That's the
You know,
next step.
Just
Yep.
cleaning up.
Raking ledges and mopping it up.
Raking and mopping. And then I graduated you up to putting the water in.
Purgatory.
And by God, if you hit one of the frames, I was ready to come unglued because I'm like, that frame's going to leak for the next 3 hours.
And it really wasn't. All you had to do was towel it. But
You do not slam the tops at my dad's house, I'll tell you what.
But yeah, it's always that quarter to half inch from the top. You got to keep it at that. If it wasn't perfect, he'd ream your ass. So I mean, that's how we got our perfection.
How long was it before you actually touched the squeegee, though?
It was a long time.
I was a year.
No, it was a
It
long
was a
time.
year.
I was an absolute full year. You wouldn't even let me see it. Yeah, if I touched it, you would yell at me.
So what's funny is the way I evolved is how you guys was trained versus if I hire a new sub and I have them in the truck with me and I'm training them. Maybe they don't know anything about window cleaning. I get them out of my truck as fast as possible.
Right.
Probably 5-6 weeks, they're out.
Right.
So
I just send them to Joey.
yeah.
I hate training.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience for it because of the way we were trained. I really don't. I mean, it was, you couldn't train somebody the way we were trained.
Well, it's like some guys, it's just totally untrainable.
Right.
I mean, there was a time I was doing a building that was probably a half a mile long one way and half a mile back the other way. And the windows, they was all the same shape. You didn't have a circle. You didn't have a triangle. You didn't have an octagon. You had a bunch of rectangular windows. And to be asked the same question
Over
for
and
the
over.
20th time,
Yeah.
I just secretly thought to myself, I think there's laws about shooting somebody. But I'm like, maybe that guy hung out for a year, maybe he hung out for 6 months, but you could tell right away that
Who
he
was the
was.
one guy that you trained that wanted to fight you in the Blockbuster lobby or whatever?
That was Aaron.
Yeah.
It was like late at night. It was like, we started off at like 5 o'clock in the morning. We're still out slinging suds at 10 o'clock at night because we just we're doubling up, trying to keep caught up with the schedule. And we was in like this vestibule in Blockbusters that it was tight for two guys to be in there washing windows. And he bumped into me or I bumped into him. And I just, I'm tired. He's tired. And I'm like, hey, watch yourself. And he's like, you feel froggy? Let's go. That was a bad time. So I think that was his last night out with me, to tell you the truth.
That's funny.
All right, Joseph. So 15 years old, residential routes.
Yeah.
doing high school
Yep.
on your computer.
Yep.
I mean, he graduated high school in a truck. Literally.
Oh, you were in the truck while graduation was it?
Well, I mean, no, I'm saying he like.
You was his
Shot
teacher?
scene there.
No,
Oh.
God, no.
God help you if that was the case.
Yeah.
I barely graduated myself. No, I mean, he was doing all his schoolwork. He was homeschooling. He was in ECOT at the time.
They're gone now.
And him and I, and I'll let you obviously question whatever you want, but him and I mean, we struggled to become a team. You know, he's having daddy issues. I'm trying to make a living at this point, trying to figure this out. But man.
Be honest. When you physically got bigger than your dad, physically, not just.
I still have the dad attitude.
Was you just ready to beat his ass? I shouldn't say.
Some days.
Some days. Yeah. He probably could if he really. This kid's strong as an ox.
I've done it once. All it takes is a heel to the back of the head. That's it.
Happened to me 3 times. And I still got the knobs.
Yeah, I mean, but Joey is an accomplished window cleaner. He's really good at his job. He doesn't need me anymore, which is kind of sad for me. He's actually better than me now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I could tell that.
Dang.
And for me to admit that,
Wow.
well, I mean, and we'll get. Well, I mean, we've had Chase out when we went to Cincinnati.
I'll never admit that you're better than me, though.
Oh, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. Chase
you're
is better.
close.
Chase hadn't been out in a decade. He was better than me.
That
I
don't
mean, I'm
take
not
much.
even going to lie.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
been a long time since I washed a window.
But I mean, when he came, even when we did that day and a half down in Cincinnati. I mean, the kid was just on point. And then he helped me out at a house in Heath, and yeah, he could make a lot of money doing what we do.
What
if
was
he
your
really wanted
breaking
to.
point from not wanting to do windows anymore?
Dreams, baby.
Dreams big.
Basically, yeah, no, I have a passion for what we're currently doing right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you look around here, this is like you surround yourself with the things that you love, and I have probably a lot of things I love in here.
He's just, it's kind of hard I think it's hard for him because you're the only one that's not a window cleaner. You know what I mean? But in the roundabout way, I mean, he's also, we're all proud of you. You know, you're chasing the dream. Our dream is just to have a lot of money. You know, we got to feed some kids. That's all
kind
we're
of a
trying to do.
universal dream, though. No?
No, I get it, but it's just I don't think I personally that this kind of wasn't my dream because I got out of the restaurant business doing it, and I really didn't have it. You know, this is what I knew. This is what your dad instilled in us.
Well, I think it goes back to where if you wake up loving what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
And if this is what you love, then you really don't work.
Well,
Yeah, that's like one of the greatest points to ever make, and that you can say I wake up and do what I love to do, and what you do is completely different than what I do.
Yeah.
But we both get to wake up and say the same thing.
And if you're able to support yourself and your family, I mean, that's all there is to it.
What else is there? Steak. That's pretty good.
my problem
And
is
the
that I've
other-
been raising kids since I was a kid. You know, I still raise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How old your youngest now?
7.
Oh my goodness, how is it that quick?
Yeah.
It's
flies.
that quick.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine going back.
Your oldest is what, 13 or 14?
14.
14 years old.
14? Yeah.
I thought it was 15,
No, 14.
14.
You're getting old, my man.
Yeah, I don't look as old as you, though. I don't have any gray hairs.
Oh,
I don't think.
So what's it like, going back to our topic, what's it like working for a family business, dealing with your mom? Your mom was our office manager. I mean,
It's painful. It's painful. I'm not gonna lie. It
Yeah.
really is painful because like you want to have separate relationships with people, especially when it comes to like business and personal life.
Right.
But to like, and there's no shame in admitting it's hard to work for someone that you live with, let alone is your parent.
Right.
Right. And like you said, you were kind of having trouble figuring out how to be a team.
Right.
I had the same situation with you. I had the same situation with Josh, right? My brother. But, you know, if you do it long enough, you just we could both sleepwalk and wash windows and be a super effective team.
Well, back in the day, we didn't have now we have music we can put in our ears.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? It wasn't like you
Yeah,
didn't
that
have
helps.
Walkmans and stuff back then. You weren't as easy to accomplish. So you can kind of get lost in your own head and not talk to people most of the day when you're kind of preoccupied with things in your head. Because if him and I are sitting there, I mean, we drive together, we eat together, and if we're, I mean, he's going to get annoyed with me after a while. I'm dad. You know,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
gets
the hard
annoyed
part.
with
Is
dad.
like when you work with your parent and like you live with your parent and all your time spent is either working with them or at home for the like the evening part when you've just busted tail all day and you're going to eat some food and go to sleep. There's a very difficult distinction between like, are we still working or are we dad and son now? Are we,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like that delineation between like coworker, employee, and father, son. Like that's a hard thing to balance.
It's a hard thing especially me. I mean, because you're always my kid. Like he's always my kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not even. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, it's that kind of attitude that I was taking with him, and I think I had to change that for him and I to kind of bond.
Well, I think when I worked with my dad, not in window cleaning, it was in construction, he was a very different person to work with. I mean, that was his generation that if you messed up, you would get your butt kicked. You'd wake up looking at the ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd just knock you out.
Well, I mean, that's a
move
whole
on.
different generation, though, man. I mean, yeah.
But dad,
Those guys used to drink gasoline.
Right.
with dad, he would be nonstop. And when I had kids that was working with me, and I would try to make a clear, distinctive line.
Right.
Of I want business to be over here, and I want family to be over here. I tried to do that, but you know me as well as anybody else. I'm nonstop business.
Right.
I mean, whether I'm on the phone bidding on something, whether I'm
Well, you're a workaholic.
yeah. So I mean, it was hard having family time when you're basically nonstop and you're trying to build a business. But what you do as a parent is you kind of lose sight of your family behind you. You want to be there for their band concert. You want to be there for everything they do in school. But you're so busy building a business from a young age that, I mean, everybody's telling you you can't do it.
Right.
And you want to prove that you can do it. And whether it's this field that you're doing or whether it's the field that we're doing, you're just nonstop building it. And what's sad is when you get a little bit older and I don't want people to start tearing up and everything, but you know, I'm approaching 60 fast. And you start reflecting back and you're like, all they really wanted is some of my time.
Right.
Not the material things that even though I would buy them thousands of dollars of gifts every Christmas.
Right.
You know, some people would look at you and be like, "Is this it?"
I think it's
that was Chase.
it's this week that I'm going through. I mean, hardly any work this week, but I mean, I'm shelling out money. I mean, my dog needed an emergency surgery. You know, that's thousands of dollars gone. You know, and just everything. You know, everybody loves dad until the bank account's low.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, so it's all about getting that bank account, and sometimes you have to put in the work, and so you know you have to do that. Sometimes you're not there for the basketball games or the baseball games.
I can see that.
You're trying, but I mean, you know, we have this other family that are pets or anything that they still need it too. I mean, Hannah's getting $3,000 worth of dental work after the insurance at this point. So I mean, I'm just bleeding money right now. I can't wait. She's 17 years old. I can't wait till next year. Oh my goodness.
Well, just be careful.
You're on your own, honey.
Right.
Don't put the family on the back burner too much to put the business out front. I think that's the point I'm trying to make because I did that for years and I regret that.
Right. But
You
I
know.
think Chase is and Joey will be the same. You know, they learn from they're not going to parent the way we did. Well, that didn't help. They're not going to parent the way we did. They're going to parent the way that they wanted to be parented.
Well, I
You
mean,
get
the
what I'm
whole
saying?
world's different.
But
I
we
mean,
we
with
parented.
technology and everything.
Oh yeah.
Just an interesting perspective.
Yeah, we parented, tried to parent differently than our parents, but a lot of that leaked into us. Just like a lot of us will leak into them, you know. But they'll be able to expand on what we were trying to do. You know what I mean?
What's funny is you always try to do it better than the last generation.
Sure.
I tried to be a better dad than my dad was.
Right.
And I'm sure you're trying to be better than I was, which is hard to do, but
Tough shoes to fill, man.
But Joe,
trying hard, man.
What's the best time you had in the truck with your dad, or the worst time you had in the truck with your dad?
The best times were going out, like going to Pittsburgh or Cincinnati.
You like to
That's
travel
pretty
around
great,
then.
yeah.
You like that. That was your number one memory. of working with your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys like headbang to music in the truck together? Did you like turn it, like, crank it up, and you guys are like, yeah.
He likes 610, so it's kind of all politics.
I'm a radio. I'm
Is that
old
an
now.
A? Is that an AM? Oh
AM,
my
yeah.
word!
8-track.
Yeah. No, I'm a 610 WTVN kind of guy, man. I'm all, yeah,
my.
I like the Glenn Becks and all that stuff.
And you stayed awake, or you was the driver?
I'm an old man.
I remember this guy blasting, like, I can remember distinctly you blasting like Poison. And,
Oh yeah, dude.
You know, like the old 80s hair band music, Bon Jovi and stuff.
I couldn't wait to put 6x9s in that truck.
And now he's listening to AM radio.
I'm an AM radio guy. Dude, so I literally listen every year. It's a different album, but I listen to the same album on repeat over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Out on the routes, it's never changes because of the fact. Well, it's in my head. He doesn't usually hear it, but that's how I keep time. That's the only way I can keep time.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's weird, but Joey, I mean, keep going. Sorry, what was your worst time out on the trucks?
Ooh, worst time.
Probably being a gopher
Yeah,
anytime.
you hated being a gopher, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, you're
it's
not
terrible.
a gopher. I'm pretty much his gopher now.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And he's scared of climbing ladders.
The older I
I
get,
can see that.
the older I get, he's young. He likes climbing ladders. Have at it. Hey, you know what? It's your fault.
My fault?
Absolutely your fault.
Why is it my fault?
You always did all the ladder work.
He did always do the ladder work.
He wouldn't let us on the ladder.
Well, I didn't think I could live with myself if anything happened to one of you guys.
I know, but I
So-
mean, so it kind of hurt us. And now I got my kid doing it because I'm so much of a pussy.
Yeah. I've seen your videos. I'm like, yep,
It's
those
always
back
Joey
on the ladder.
No, I mean, when I gotta go solo, I have to do it, and I do it, and it's just,
No, you won't. You
Yeah.
hire somebody else.
or I'll call
He goes and
off.
grabs a pole.
I do pull a lot.
Full.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's your best time? What's your worst time? In the truck.
In the truck?
Yeah.
Man, I was going to call out of the truck.
Out of the truck.
What's the
Okay,
worst
out
time?
of the truck. What's your best and worst time working with us? If you want to get in personal, we'll probably make another video about that.
I don't know. Worst time, I think one of the worst times out of the truck. The best time in the truck. Let's talk about the best time in the truck.
Okay.
The best time I had in the truck was conversations. I don't think I ever talked to you more than it was in between jobs.
Really?
And
You
we
learn anything good or
we
no?
can't say stuff like that online.
You
No,
learn a
I-
lot of dirty jokes.
Yeah. I think we had the best conversations in the truck on at work. I can't recall talking to you more than it was at work.
Were you ever involved in a rain day?
What?
When it would we'd be out on the routes and then pour ass rain.
And you just sit in the truck and
Oh,
wait?
hell no. We'd find a bowling alley.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
We'd find a bowling alley. We'd find a Bob Evans. We'd
Dang,
do
I do
something.
remember stuff
Yeah.
like that. I remember going bowling with you, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, we would do all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of the boring times we'd be waiting for a homeowner to get home. Do you remember this where we would take like coins and kind of flip them towards the garage door to see who could be the closest?
Remember racing down that driveway
Oh,
with
yeah.
the mop buckets?
Was it with you?
Was that you?
No,
I
that
don't
was
know.
that was Josh.
That was Josh?
I put both of you in a mop bucket.
Mop
And
bucket.
This
We-
driveway was a quarter of a mile long, and that was a game to see who would get to the bottom the fastest.
And that's when we used the old Rubbermaid mop buckets with
Yeah.
the wheels and stuff.
And they would set in these buckets, and away they go. And just
Those were the
recently,
best.
Man, we
buckets,
horseplayed
by the
way
way.
too much, dude. How'd we ever get anything done?
I don't know. But now I see guys run around in these mop buckets with these leaf blowers. They're trying
Yeah.
to save on gas. They're making videos.
Oh, that's
of-
hilarious.
And they have like these, like a sail.
We should do that.
As soon as I seen that video, it just flashed my memory back to you guys.
That was
racing
Welsh
them.
Hills? Welsh out in Granville, right? Welsh Hills Road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was fun.
Was
We used to, we always had fun. Always had fun.
Can I talk about my worst?
Please.
Yeah.
Myers.
Myers. What about Myers?
Just the coldest, most brutal, nightmarish job. That job always stuck in my head as like, because you always had to be there stupid early.
6:30.
stupid early.
Hey,
and in the
remember-
winter, that's what's burned in my brain as far as like winter time window cleaning for me was Myers.
We always did it on a Thursday, but they were always closed on Thanksgiving, and it was a weekly account, so we had to do it on Friday, right before the Black Friday shoppers went in. So they'd be sitting in line, and we're cleaning windows, leaving ice and water.
Yeah, I hated that.
I thought you would say Flying J
Because Flying J was equally terrible.
Well, that was an account that I had that it had to be done by like
in the middle of the night,
5-6 o'clock in the morning. You had to be done because they serve breakfast.
Oh yeah,
I think the Suds added flavor to the food, but
that place was so cheap. I remember Flying J, but your dad had to do all that high dusting, and it was an overnight job, and I stayed up. I was already up like for 2 days. And this was before meth, so I didn't have any help, and no Red Bulls or anything. So, not that I did meth, but meth wasn't readily available. But I show up and I help him out for like a half hour and like, dude, I gotta go. I can't even stand straight. And I bolt on your dad as he's got to high dust the whole restaurant in there. I was such a dick back then.
He did that quite often. I mean, I would take on huge jobs counting on him to show up, and I'd be calling him and no answer, calling him no. I'd call his mom.
I got to tell you what, I'm surprised you guys are still friends with as much as trash as you talk about each other.
But
that's why we are friends.
It is. It's almost like a marriage.
You figure it's been 30...
I love him. I hate him. I love to hate him.
32 years. 32 years. Well, I mean, dude, in a roundabout way, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been through high school. I wouldn't have this career. You know what I mean? He was there when my dad wasn't, So he's been there for me even when I was in restaurants and I needed him, he was there for me. You know what I mean?
He's that kind of guy.
He is that kind of guy.
I have the same exact story.
But he's allowed to talk shit about me. He knows me well enough. You know what I mean?
I thought I was your dad.
Pretty much.
One-minded Bangkok.
Pretty much. I wouldn't have gone through... Dude, I wouldn't have got... Think about that. I hung out at your guys' place all the time.
Yeah.
I was there when Amanda, when you were pushing on her stomach and you go, man, we got to take her to the hospital,
When he would hang out at the house, I'd never smoked so many cigarettes.
Dude, I know. It was awesome.
I'd buy a carton, I'd be like, where'd 3 packs go? And I'd see him like one in each
Hey, like,
shirt
Ron, I
pocket.
need a pack of cigarettes, bub. You got that new Sega game? All right. Pepsi.
The Swans, man. He would make a delivery
God.
to the house, and I'm like, what the heck? Where'd it go?
Well, bro, I wasn't eating up there. I was eating a can of green beans cold for dinner. That's how it was up there. It was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
we took him in. We basically raised 6 kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, dude, I got Christmas presents just like y'all. It was a great time, man. I mean, it was a bonding time back then, and that's what what he did for me is why. I literally talk to your dad almost every day of my life.
oh.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
We talk. I talk to him more than I talk to anybody.
Yeah, but we're usually
Yeah,
talking
but
about
we're not
it.
talking about that on this podcast. We've got that true line that we can't talk about the things we do.
You're telling each other, man, did you see Chase's new video he put up? It's so good.
I actually tell him about him every once in a while.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. You should. Don't you have your own podcast that you might be able to mention?
I don't have a podcast.
You don't?
Oh, we're going to get all into his channel and stuff on the next show, on the next episode. I want to utilize some of his brain for the guys that are in the window cleaning world on YouTube and stuff like that. Just because he has done this successfully. Sorry if I'm whistling. I'm still getting used to it.
Successfully?
He has done. Hey, I
You're
spent
just sitting here with 2 old guys. I mean, we're falling apart.
Yeah.
Piece by piece.
No, literally. So I want to get into that with him and discuss a little bit about that with him. But Joey, what do you see in your future? I mean, are you going to end up taking this over? Are you going to move on to something new? Are you just going
no clue,
flying by the seat of your pants?
Put you right on the spotlight. What is your end of life goal right now?
Right. When's the retirement? When are you going to take this over and make us rich? Is what I'm asking.
Any day now.
Okay, I'll be expecting it.
Oh,
So you don't have no long-term plans?
not at the moment, no.
No.
He's like Nostradamus, this guy.
Why is that?
I don't know. He's a man of very few words, but you can just see that he's He's overly abundant with wisdom and knowledge in there. He just doesn't want to give it out.
Let's talk about Cincinnati real quick, because this is the greatest story ever for Joey. So Joey was a huge fan of Chase, and he didn't realize that Chase.
Oh.
You remember this, right?
Yeah, I do.
So we when I said Chase is going, Chase who? Chase Gilroy. What? How do you know? How do you know Chase? You know, like that kind of deal. So my son is like a huge fan of Chase, who I've known, basically most of his life. You know what I mean? So it was really cool because as a dad, and not even realizing it, like I didn't. You don't realize your presence on YouTube. When you know somebody, you really don't understand what they do for other people.
Right.
You don't understand the impact that you make, and we don't see it. You know what I mean? Because you Chase. You know what I mean? But you're really out there getting an impact on people. And my son was the first time I seen that. It was really wild because it's like, but that's Chase. So it was really cool the first time that he actually got to meet Chase. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
See what I mean?
You got to insert that video. I'll have to send it to you from YouTube for you to insert this video of Joey on Chase's vlog down in Cincinnati. It's hilarious.
You know what you should do? You should just put the link in the comments.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the comments so you guys can watch that vlog. It is hilarious because Joey's not changed since then. He's just gotten bigger.
Well, what's bad is I've been on a few of his vlogs.
Yeah.
And you do get a lot of recognition. I mean, you're like, people come up, aren't you Chase's dad? And we're like, yeah, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
But I remember me and his mom being in a restaurant in Lancaster, Ruby Tuesdays, I think, and we're just having lunch, and these little kids run up to us, and they're like, can we have your autograph? I'm like, why?
We were eating at Applebee's down in Cincinnati, and he had a little stalker outside the whole time. Craziest shit ever. Like we're out cleaning windows, and Chase has got a stalker outside. Like, what the shit is going on in our world? So,
wow.
I want to get into that. I'm going to get into you and YouTube on the next episode, which should be coming up soon. I mean, we've been talking for a while. So, you got anything you want to ask these gentlemen real quick? No. We'll just worry about it on the next episode.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. This is episode 2. And just stay tuned for next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We'll put the second part of this. We're going to go into getting Joey to say at least 10 words on the next one. And we'll go a little bit into the world of Chase, what he's done since window cleaning, where he's gone, what goals he's met, and what his goals are for the future. And I think that's about wrap the show up now.
That wraps.
All right, guys. If you like what's going on here and you like what we're doing, please, sub to the channel.
Here's how you do it.
All right.
Let me help you with your outro. Ready?
Please, you go ahead and just finish it up.
If you've made it to the end, that means you're super awesome. And I want to say we appreciate you guys for watching the whole video. Now, if you've made it this far, do us the favor, hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and make sure you do subscribe.
All right. That's it, guys. Hey, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
That's going to cost me.
Yeah, it's going to cost us all.